Everybody, welcome to another edition of Flex and Reflect Sunday Sit Down. Let's get straight into the questions. I haven't looked at these at all, so we'll see how many we can get through. If you could instantly master one exercise or physical activity you currently find challenging, what would it be and why? Okay, interesting question. So when it comes to the gym stuff, I'd say there's nothing. I mean, I have been training myself for 36 years. Any exercise that I want to perfect, I would have perfected it by now. I think I don't know, if I was only ever going to do one exercise and to perfect that, it would be the deadlift. But my form is very good with that. But I just can't lift super heavy now because of back injury, probably over a decade ago now, not through weightlifting. It was actually lifting my daughter, just awkwardly. But my form is really good, which is why I'm so focused on and teaching people techniques. So, if you think about like some of the more technical moves, which you see a lot in CrossFit, and you see a lot of injuries in videos that you see put up where people's form is really terrible. It's like your clean and jerk, your Olympic lifting, and that kind of stuff. I have no interest in doing those. It's not a longevity type of exercise. In my mind, that is going to keep people safe and feeling good about themselves. So I don't do those types of moves. If there was one skill, maybe a better question would have been if there was one skill I could master instantly, it would be the ability to read faster and retain that knowledge. So I'm practicing speed reading at the moment to try and increase my speed reading. So I think the challenge, we have so much content available to us now. For me, it's about how do I absorb more? How can I get through it quicker? And how can I retain that more, which is what is brilliant about AI. Like the other day, I loaded up a document that was, I think it was over 60 pages long PDF document. I loaded it directly into ChatGPT. I used the paid version, which is version 4. And I said, can you give me the key bullet points in summary form as to what this document's talking about? And just like that, it gave it to me. It's like, man, if only my brain would think like that. So that would be my key one. Next question is, sorry, my watch is distracting me. Reflecting on your journey, can you share a moment where a significant setback turned into a valuable lesson for both your physical and mental growth? Well, apart from one I've mentioned before, like the most challenging setback I've had in my life is the loss of my daughter last year. I've spoken about that before, so I won't cover that here. I guess I could talk about Okay, so I've had 3 shoulder surgeries, one on my right, two on my left. And they involved significant amount of rehabilitation. They weren't done at the same time. I had my right one done about 12 months or so later. I started to notice some things going on with my left one. I had a surgery done there. I think it was probably 6 months after that I had to go back and I had to do another surgery on it because it wasn't fixed to the way that the right one was. I had a part of bone that needed to be shaved off. So imagine like a little shark tooth, and every time I lift my arm above my head, it's like grading up and down on the bursa. And it was just due to the number of repetitions that I was doing over years, it was just having a really big impact. So that allowed me to take time out from training. Really frustrating, but it also allowed me to regain focus in some other areas of my life, I suppose. I also realized just how delicate our bodies are. Probably the worst thing that I've had done, I had a hernia. I did it doing decline weighted sit-ups in the gym. I felt something pop and I thought, oh, geez, I've never felt a pain like that before. And I thought, oh, gee, I think I know what that is. And I was kind of in a little bit of denial, and then realized that, yes, I did have a hernia. Had that operation. I ended up getting an E. coli infection in that. It resulted in me being hospitalized for about 7 days. I was on heavy antibiotics. They couldn't get to the bottom of where the infection came from, why I got it, why I was so unwell. And that was really hard. So I couldn't, I think it was like 6 weeks I was not allowed to do anything. I wasn't allowed to, go to the gym, do anything. And look, I was in so much pain from that. Just bending down to pick something up was like like a drink bottle, was so painful. And that's the longest time I've ever had away from the gym. Again, just showing just how fragile we are. Also that it's not necessary to absolutely thrash your abs doing lifting too much weight and that kind of stuff, and obviously conscious of that for future injuries. But I guess it just makes me aware of you've got to adjust your training, right? Like the older we get, like the way, like I used to do very heavy powerlifting moves. I can't do those anymore. And there was a time where that would really land heavily on me. I was like, man, I can't do these lifts anymore. Heavy flat bench press, heavy deadlifts, heavy barbell, behind the back of the head, bar across the shoulders, type deep squats and that kind of stuff, that's how I started. And that's what I used to love, because it was about the numbers and just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then I just realized that, well, hang on, take a step back. What's really important here? And that's when I started to redefine what health, wellness, fitness really meant for me. And it was more about being pain-free was really important. Hence, then I went and had the surgeries and so forth. And I guess just focusing differently. And then I started to put energy into my definition of health, and meaning that if I can just do like the things that I'm doing right here, now on a Sunday, like recording 2 podcasts a day, having a very busy schedule, still maintaining my, all my coaching sessions with my clients and doing all that kind of stuff, it requires a lot of energy. And I thought I've never put a specific focus into that before. So I brought that into my definition of health and wellness, and also focus. And I thought, well, okay, if you've got more energy and you've got more focus, you can do more of everything. And then I started to, I guess, concentrate more on my work ethic and identifying what are all those key things that I need to do each day to be, functionally the best person that I can be. But also, how do I keep growing as a human? How do I become a better human? But also, how do I serve clients better, my children, and how do I grow my business in that way as well? I guess it's one of those things when you keep training and you're just going one day after the next to the next to the next to the next to the next, and one week looks like the next, and you're making some progress in the gym and that kind of stuff. And I guess what these injuries did forced me to just look at things differently. Because if you don't stop and say, okay, well, what have I been doing? What are the real results of that? What does this next phase look like? How do I keep progressing? Kind of like keeping on climbing up the ladder. Then for me, that it's just boring. You're either staying the same or you're going backwards. And obviously, these situations just forced me to look at things, very differently. Sorry, I don't want to stop the recording, but I just need to check some of these things on my phone. So I've got something coming up that I need to attend to. Actually, just let me just have a check here. No, I don't know what the message is. All right, so let me go back to these messages here, the questions. All right, how do you reconcile the pursuit of personal bests in your fitness journey with the concept of self-acceptance and being content with where you are? So this is a great question. Actually, I don't think anyone's ever asked me this one before. Successful people.
Sure, just ask.
Thanks, Siri. Successful people really are impressed by good questions. So it is a good question, because I think for me, if you talk to a really successful person, they don't say, well, I want to get to this level and then I'm just going to stop. There's this hunger within success that is, I should always be looking for that next level. And one of my clients said to me recently, and they said, what are you doing on the weekend? And I explained what I do, and they said, it's okay to not keep on improving and to not think that you've always got to be growing. I said, yeah, look, I get that that's most people's mindset, but it's not mine, because I want to keep moving forward. So if you've achieved a certain level of success, you don't say, okay, well, yeah, I'll just settle here. Some people would, but when you're really hungry, you just want to keep going. And even if it's just edging yourself just that little bit further forward, what does that look like over time? And so I think, for me personally, it's not a situation where I'm going to go from where I am, like what you can see in the camera right now, to say competing on an IFBB Mr. Olympia stage where all the athletes are taking a lot of drugs. They're full-time athletes. They're doing 4 to 6 hours of training most days, eating a huge amount of food, and that's their only focus, right? They eat, sleep, train. That's all they do. I'm always going to be drug-free. I have other things that I want to do with my life as well. And so I love my training. I changed my whole career, life, everything to do what I do now. So it will always be a really important part for me. But there are other things that I want to do in my life. I love my training, but I don't want to be training 4 hours a day. Like, who wants to do that? I don't get paid to train. I do the training because I love it. It helps me improve, maintain my body to be, those things I said before about being energized. It helps me focus. It's it's an energy release as well, so I can get those things out of my system, if you like, and just feel good about what it is that I am doing each day in each training session. So I'm not going to go from where I am to bam, I'm going to be this Hulk type person. What I am happy with my lifestyle and the way that I look and all that kind of stuff. But I think there's just something in me that says you can do better, and I know that if I stop, I get worse, right? So if the muscle definition that I have will just disappear. If I stop the training, it will disappear. So my focus is, how do I be smarter? How do I keep my training interesting? So right now, this is the start of week 2. I'm doing a new program at the moment that I haven't. It's a 4-day training split, and it's something that I haven't done. I haven't done training like this before, in terms of the types of exercises, and it's got a big focus on my back, because it's probably one of my weaker points, and I'm just excited about it. And now it's a change, and I like that, the fact that I can be excited about getting back into my training. Now, is it going to dramatically change from where I am? No, it's not going to dramatically change me. But what it does do, it keeps my mindset in focusing on an improvement. And if I can get those little percentage gains, then that's fantastic. And that's what I do. So for me, it's about not becoming complacent, and finding out what are those key things that I need to do every day to help create the look, the feel, the aesthetics that I like, but as well as the feeling and the health as well, and not becoming complacent with those, because today is different to yesterday, which is different to the day before, and will be different to tomorrow. But if I can identify what are those key things that are foundational for me to do every single day with food and all that kind of stuff, and then it comes down to the training, then for me, I just focus on, okay, well, I can make today better than yesterday. So in some ways, it's a little mindset thing, without BSing myself that, yeah, you're just getting better. But you need to have that honesty where it's like, well, actually, there's no point in saying, yes, I'm getting better and I'm doing all the work, if you're not doing the work. So, great question. Hope I've kind of answered that for you. For me, it's just about not becoming complacent, and always striving for that better version of myself. Okay. Can you discuss a book, podcast, or other resource outside of fitness that unexpectedly influenced your approach to health and wellness? So probably where I have the most connection is, well, if I go back, say, probably 10 years, maybe a little bit more, maybe 12 years, I decided that I wanted to change everything about myself, and I thought I've got to change my mindset. And all I started to do was, as I was doing my work each day, I'd get up in the morning, and in YouTube, I just started typing motivation, inspiration, that kind of stuff. And I just started listening to video. I wasn't watching them, because if you've ever seen any of these things yourself, obviously, I mean, often they have like just different images and videos and that kind of stuff playing. It's the words in the background. And I noticed these recurring people kept coming up. So it was like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, a few others and stuff. And I thought, no, some of the things Tony Robbins was saying were really resonating with me. And I was like, who is this person? And I found out it was Tony Robbins. And then I started out by buying I think I bought like a CD of his. So, we don't do that anymore. But bought a CD. And I just started listening to that over and over and over. And then I got into some of his programs and started doing some of his programs, and realized that what his stuff was doing was really helped me reprogram my mindset. I had a lot of toxic self-talk, which didn't come out. Maybe it did sometimes, but not generally speaking. I was very positive, but I had a lot of negative self-talk to myself, which was really holding me back in what it is that I was achieving. And where did that come from? Probably from my childhood. You go back to the bullying and all that kind of stuff, and just make up reasons as to why you're not good enough, you're not going to change, the fears, limiting beliefs, all that kind of stuff. So that there was that to start with. But then I was like, well, I really want to grow my business. And so that's when I found my current coach, which is JT Fox, the world's #1 wealth coach. And I just went to an event one day, and he presented on stage. I thought, wow, I've got to get, closer to this guy. And now come six years later, I spend a day listening to him every day, doing one of his different programs, absorbing his content. I have one coaching call a week. There are at least one other call a week that, like, it's a group thing that I'm involved with, and sometimes there's two. So I'm very absorbed into my coach, and so he's had a massive impact on not just business, but how I conduct myself as a human as well. And certainly when it comes to the health and wellness side, so answering the question about unexpected stuff. The last chapter of his book, Millionaire Underdog, is stop talking about it and get it done. And he also said to me, you're not focused. When I first started with him like 6 years ago, wow, no one's ever told me that I'm not focused. If anything, people would say, wow, you're really focused. That's really impressive. But he was right. I wasn't. And I was focusing on a whole bunch of things, or well, I'll say focusing on a bunch of other things, but I wasn't doing the right things at the right time in the right quantity to achieve the outcomes. So he would be the #1. He does a heap of free things if you want to follow him, like jump onto his TikTok or anything like that. Check out my social media. I'll post the podcasts and stuff that he does that really resonate with me, with the guests and everything. It's because of him that I've been able to meet all the celebrities and so forth, and have them on my podcast as well. So yeah, he would be the one. All right, I'll do one more question. All right, in moments of doubt or burnout, what specific thought or mantra brings you back to center and reignites your motivation? Yeah, that's a good question too. So I've probably touched on this not in specifically how this question is worded, but I know for myself, so I'm just going to have a drink. when I say step into a workout, keep in mind that obviously I work in this space every single day. But every single time I step into the gym, I love it. Like even though I'm working with people, helping them do it, and sometimes it's like coaching over Zoom and that kind of stuff. I absolutely love doing the workouts myself because I just know the physical feeling, the mental mindset feelings that I get as well. Like it's just incredible. So I know that if I step into the gym and I'm like, or I don't want to, and I'm like, man, I really don't feel up to it today, or I'm in there and it's like, man, I'm just really not feeling it. It's rare, but every now and then I might have an off day. If I go back again for the next session, or I really don't want to do the next session, it's like, that's a massive red flag for me saying, okay, it's time for you to maybe take a week off or a few days off. Maybe I'm overtired, or maybe it's other stuff like business stuff that is just wearing me down. I'll then stop and I'll think, gee, when was the last time I took a week off? And maybe it's more than the 12 weeks, which I recommend to everybody. Like, be very focused, work very hard for 12 weeks, have a week off where you're still following the healthy principles of eating, maybe doing a little bit of light cardio and stuff, but you have a week off the weights, and then you get back into it the week after that. And so that will often be for me, and it's like I'm just in a routine and just really enjoying what I'm doing, and you kind of forget that, oh yeah, mate, it's been 12 weeks. I haven't had the break. And so if I start to find that motivation going, so I will have the week off and I will use that week to absorb myself in health and wellness type stuff, whether it's like reading some old muscle and fitness magazines that I collect, and they don't produce that magazine anymore, which is a real shame, because I used to love it. It'd come once a month and it would just reignite me. Maybe it's a recipe, maybe it's a workout, maybe it's an inspirational story or something like that. It's like, oh wow, this is really good. And so I would just use that time to just read things in the space and see if that reignites my fire. And without a shadow of a doubt, it always does. Always does. So I take time out. I maybe do some other things that I wouldn't normally do. I'm still focusing on the food, but I read things. Sometimes, I might be watching a movie, but the movie doesn't really, like, it's an inspirational moment in time sort of thing. Or it's just some entertainment. But for me personally, it's reading. It's whether it's a book, but it's normally like that muscle and fitness type stuff, absorbing content online, so that I can just get that fire back in the belly. So it's a combination of rest, so having a break, doing some different things, and for me, just some very left brain thinking. So I like the structure and the plan and all that kind of stuff. And just like I've done for right now, I took some time out just recently doing those things I just said, but also coming up with a new program, something that was different. I thought, okay, I'm becoming a little bit stale. Let's create something just completely different so that I can just get excited again. I've been training for 36 years, so sometimes you just need to get that fire back in the belly. So that's how I would do it. So great questions. I've got a bunch more, which I'll carry over to next week. Maybe I just like the sound of my own voice, so speaking too long answering some of these questions. But thanks a lot, everyone. Great lot of questions today. Have a great Sunday.